Hey there, fellow humans. Ever notice how people born in different decades seem to speak different languages? No, not actual languages, although trying to explain the internet to your grandpa might feel that way. I'm talking about generational differences. Those hilarious, head-scratching, sometimes infuriating quirks that make each generation unique. From the stoic silent generation to the TikToking meme-loving Gen Z, we're going on a whirlwind tour of generational stereotypes, cultural influences, and yes, even fashion choices. Buckle up, it's gonna be a wild ride. And remember, all jokes aside, understanding these differences is key to bridging the gap between generations. So, put on your reading glasses, or your blue light blockers depending on your generation, grab a cup of coffee or a kombucha, and let's dive into the wonderful, wacky world of generations. First up, we have the silent generation, born between 1928 and 1945. These are the folks who lived through the Great Depression, fought in World War II, and witnessed the dawn of the atomic age. Talk about a resume. They're known for their strong work ethic, their respect for authority, and their ability to fix anything with a paperclip and some elbow grease. Think your grandpa's stories about walking uphill both ways in the snow are exaggerations? Think again. They value hard work, frugality, and a good pair of sensible shoes. They're not big on technology, but hey, they invented most of it. And don't even get me started on their impeccable manners. They're a living, breathing history lesson, and we could all learn a thing or two from their resilience and quiet strength. Next up, we have the baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964. This massive generation, fueled by post-war optimism and economic prosperity, reshaped the cultural landscape. From the counterculture movement of the 60s to the corporate climb of the 80s, boomers have seen it all and left their mark on everything. They're the generation that invented tie-dye, rock and roll, and the idea of finding yourself, usually while backpacking through Europe. Boomers are known for their strong opinions, their love of classic rock, and their tendency to overshare on Facebook. Love them or hate them, you can't deny the impact baby boomers have had on society. Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980. Sandwiched between the boomers and the millennials, they're often overlooked, dismissed as cynical slackers. But don't let that fool you. Gen X is the generation that perfected sarcasm, mastered the art of the eye roll, and taught us all how to survive a world on the brink of Y2K. Growing up in the shadow of the Cold War and the rise of MTV, Gen X developed a healthy skepticism of authority and a deep appreciation for irony. They're independent, resourceful, and fiercely loyal to their friends and their flannel shirts. They're the voice of reason in a world gone mad, and for that, we salute them. And now, we arrive at the millennials, born between 1981 and 1996. This tech-savvy, diverse generation grew up with the internet, witnessed the rise of social media, and are often blamed for killing everything from napkins to cereal. Millennials are known for their love of avocado toast, their crippling student loan debt, and their ability to communicate entirely in emojis. They're passionate about social justice, obsessed with authenticity, and constantly searching for meaning and purpose in a world that often feels meaningless and purposeless. They're also the ones who are going to inherit this whole mess, so let's hope they figure it out. Last but not least, we have Generation Z, born between 1997 and 2012. These digital natives have never known a world without the internet, smartphones, or social media. They're the most diverse generation yet, and they're growing up in a world facing unprecedented challenges from climate change to political polarization. Gen Z communicates in memes, expresses themselves through TikTok dances, and is passionate about making the world a better place. They're tech-savvy, entrepreneurial, and more aware of global issues than any generation before them. They're also the most likely to be diagnosed with anxiety and depression, a reflection of the uncertain times they're growing up in. Gen Z is full of energy, idealism, and a fierce determination to make their voices heard. Now let's have some fun with this, shall we? Imagine a reality show where members from each generation are stuck in a house together.
Back in my day, we didn't have all these fancy gadgets. We had to entertain ourselves with sticks and rocks, and we liked it.
Yeah, well, we invented rock and roll, so you're welcome. Now get off my lawn.
Whatever. Can someone pass the remote? I'm trying to find out what happens on Friends.
Ugh, I wish I could afford to buy a house. And avocado toast. And maybe a plane ticket to Bali. Hash adultingishard.
Okay, Boomer, can someone Venmo me $5 so I can buy a new filter? See? Hilarious! And while these are obviously exaggerated stereotypes, there's a grain of truth to each one. Let's appreciate the humor and learn from each other. At the end of the day, every generation has its strengths and weaknesses, its quirks and contributions. Instead of focusing on our differences, let's try to learn from each other. Let's appreciate the silent generation's resilience, the boomers' optimism, Gen X's cynicism, it's a gift, the millennials' idealism, and Gen Z's tech savviness. We're all in this together, trying to navigate this crazy thing called life. So, put down your phones or your newspapers, turn off the TV or the radio, and have a real conversation with someone from a different generation. You might be surprised by what you learn, or at least, you'll have a good story to tell.